Greetings, IB artists. This is Miss A, and today I'll be replying to one of the questions that was posted on one of my videos. So Google tells me to pronounce this as Chanerupi. I hope I've said that correctly. Anyway, so her question was, you can see I've posted it up, and basically it's asking about what is the difference between an IB student that scores below a 6 and a student who scores 6 and above. So what I reply to this is really that anybody watching my channel should be scoring 6 and above because of the investment that you're already putting in. The students who are not that interested in this subject will not be watching my channel. So all the videos basically that I've posted would be relevant to you if you're trying to score a 6 and above. The other thing that I want to say is that obviously there are no guarantees for success. That's just life. Some people will always have more time than you, more talent or skills than you. They may have a lot more experience than you in the subject, or there's millions and millions of factors that come into whether you are successful or not. And I'm using success really in a very specific way, in which you are scoring highly as a result of being marked by the IBO board. Of course, there are all types of successes, and I really feel that it's important to say that, whether you've scored highly or not, the most important thing is how far you've come, how much you've enjoyed it, how much you've grown as a result of this course. And I think that's really important to kind of understand and accept. This is good preparation for life. You will not always succeed at what you love. I will also say that if you do love something, there's a much, much higher chance of you succeeding at that, simply because of all the energy that you're putting into it. So I think, try and enjoy this course as much as you possibly can and get as much as you can out of it. I think whatever you end up doing later on in life, this will definitely serve you as a very important journey in your growth. I think it's important to point out that the best predictor of what level you will be achieving at the end of this course is your teacher. So if you're worried about stuff, if you're really keen to kind of understand what level you're at, then you should be consulting with your teacher. They should be able to clarify what the standard of your work is, or what kind of level of attainment you are likely to achieve at the end of the 2 years. So having said this, I'm now going to give you 7 kind of qualities that really help you be a high achiever in this subject. If you have these qualities, you are likely to score a 6 or a 7 in this subject. Again, I will say that there are no guarantees because we are complex beings. There are many, many factors that contribute to the success or failure of somebody. So the first characteristic, I think, is a really obvious one and doesn't apply just to this subject, and that is that you are hardworking, that you have a strong work ethic. And I think for art it's even more so because it's a practical subject. You will have to do a lot of work. It is challenging because you have so many other subjects. So it's important that you are very organized and disciplined when it comes to working on your IB art portfolio. So hardworking is absolutely a must. There are no shortcuts to quality work. There are no tricks or anything like that you can bypass all the hard work with. I think I've mentioned this already, but in the book called Art and Fear, it mentions a group of students who were kind of tested. One group was just hardworking, was told to do as much work as possible, and the other group of students was told to only produce artwork that is of a very high quality. And it ended up that the first group that were just told to work hard produced much better work. And this is just a fact of life. It's, I always liken it to a musician. The more you practice, the better you'll be, the easier you will be able to have the fluency to express your ideas and anything that you would like to communicate with your work, right? It just gets easier with practice. The second one, I think, is really, really true, and no matter what you want to end up doing with your art skills, you must have really, really strong drawing skills. Again, I don't care whether you want to go into gaming, it really doesn't matter. Drawing skills are really key to your success in any field that is related to the arts. It's the best way for people to gauge how you communicate visually. And I think if you practice your skills, which you absolutely should, your drawing skills will speak for you, will speak to your fluency for you. So it's extremely important that your drawing skills are very, very strong. Tip number 3 is really the passion that you have for the subject. I've talked a lot about passion, especially in my last few videos, and it really is a game changer. The passion will sustain you to invest the energy that is required on this course, and really it's important that you understand that it's not like a lot of other subjects, and I'm not saying that you shouldn't have passion for other subjects. However, I think in a successful student, the IB Art subject is always kind of percolating at the back of their heads. They're making connections with, random things that are around them. You're constantly looking for ideas in all sorts of places, including other subjects. So it's really not something that I believe you switch on and off. And I think that level of commitment, that level of investment, that passion is very clear when one is looking at an art portfolio. So I think this characteristic of being really invested and really passionate about the subject is kind of a must if you want to score highly in this subject. I would even kind of add that I believe that it really takes almost obsession to be a successful artist in general, because you will face a lot of challenges, especially because you have to basically be self-motivated. And really, to remain self-motivated and engaged, it takes that kind of level of obsession and passion to really be able to maintain that kind of flow of work, etc. So the fourth characteristic, which I think is really, really important, is that you really delve deep into the criteria and fully understand what is expected for each one. And again, it is very much recommended that you really ask all the right questions to clarify any doubts you have to your teacher, right? So make sure that you speak to your teacher a lot and often, and that you really clarify to yourself what the criteria mean and what is important and what is expected for each one, how to answer each criterion successfully. The fifth characteristic, which I think is really important for successful artists, is that they are critical thinkers. What is a critical thinker? I mean, I know it's part of the IB profile of students, and again, this is a quality that is not just limited to arts, but it is very important to the subject of art. And basically, critical thinking is that you think about things, that you question things, that you do your own research, that you don't just Google something and, randomly accept what's out there. You do, you delve deeper, you ensure that the information that you're receiving is correct, that you're reading is correct, that you verify the information, that you collect many points of view on that topic, etc., etc., and that you understand that, sometimes information or ideas can be subjective and dependent on the context within which they are, for example, different cultures, etc. So I think critical thinking is simply understanding that knowledge is something that is relevant in many different ways, and that you should verify and understand the knowledge that you have. You're not, obviously, the days of teaching students where they kind of just, repeat something and look to their teachers as the authority and knowledge are long gone, which is a great thing, because everybody can be wrong, right? And even if they're not wrong, that information may not be applicable anymore or relevant, etc., etc. So a critical thinker really is someone who is thinking about the knowledge or the information that they have on a specific topic, on a worldview, on any kind of view. So this is the idea of really delving deep into any kind of ideas that you're exploring or accepting or using. A little bit like the extended essay, right? So you can't just kind of say, well, this is so. You have to say why, you have to say what your ideas are based on, how much research you've done, the credibility of the sources, etc., etc. So number 6 is again a quite general characteristic, which is that of a problem solver. And problem solving, I think, can apply to a lot of different subjects, and I think applies to all subjects if they're really approached correctly or in a profound way, I guess. So it's not just problem solving as in maths. In art, you are constantly problem solving, because not only are you dealing with things that you have control of, but you're also doing a lot of experimentation, or you should be anyway. So the creativity emerges out of you problem solving things that, again, are a combination of things you can control or aspects that you can't. So how are you solving problems while you are in the flow and the process of creating artworks for this course, right? Problem solving is so important because at many points you will be challenged, your progress will be challenged. You've spilled paint on something, or I'm just saying obvious things. At that point, it's not about giving up and saying, oh, well, it's not perfect, blah, blah, blah. It could be, that could be a solution to start again. But however, creativity also emerges in things where you think, oh, well, maybe I could do this, and simply looking at something from a different point of view, or shifting your perspective, right? So that's kind of where creativity comes into play when you're problem solving. Characteristic number 7 is really important. Again, it's closely tied to creativity and problem solving, and that is that you are a risk taker. If you are going to stay in your safe zone, if you are going to remain using skills at a level that you're comfortable with, for example, oh, I'm very good at, pencil drawing, so let's say 60% of my work will be pencil drawings. Again, possible, but how are you challenging yourself, right? So unless you are challenging yourself and you're really constantly pushing for growth, in other words, that you are a risk taker and going into areas and doing things that you're not comfortable with, then you will be stuck And even if you're very proficient and you are, fluent at what you do, you are not growing, and the examiner or whoever, your teacher, will know this. They will know this person is extremely good at this, but they're not challenging themselves. They're not trying out different things that they may not be so good at. They're not learning, right? So it's really important, especially at this stage where you are really beginning to become an artist, whether you do art later on or not. It's extremely important to constantly push those boundaries. Okay? This is something that artists, once they're established, still really try to do, and sometimes because they're so famous for doing that one thing very, very well, find very difficult to break out of that. And then they become stale and just stop being interesting in many, many ways. Okay? So make sure that you are taking those risks, that you are not afraid of experimentation, that you're not afraid of failure, and that you trust your creativity, your problem solving, to really create work that shows how far you're coming and how much you are learning and progressing. Right, so I hope this has been helpful. Thank you so much for listening. This is Miss A. All the best.